The tension surrounding these negotiations has grown so thick that every conversation, every rumor, and every new detail feels like another spark tossed into an already blazing fire. With the deadline now closing in, the WNBA and its players find themselves standing on a cliff edge, looking down at a future that could change the league forever. Nothing about this moment feels simple. Nothing about it feels routine. It feels like the kind of crossroads that defines an entire generation of athletes, reshapes a league's identity, and sends shockwaves throughout the sports world. And as the final days before November 30th tick away, the stakes only grow heavier. What makes this moment so dramatic is that the WNBA is not just negotiating with its players. It is negotiating with time itself. Every hour that passes without a deal adds more anxiety, more questions, and more pressure. The league has never been stronger in visibility, popularity, or cultural impact. This past season showed what women's basketball can become when the world is paying attention. From sold-out arenas to viral clips to record-breaking broadcasts, the sport has finally entered mainstream conversation. But all of that momentum can evaporate in a heartbeat if the core structure of the league collapses under the weight of unresolved negotiations. This looming deadline has forced the league to confront a complicated truth. Growth brings opportunity, but it also brings responsibility. With fans tuning in at record levels and expansion markets investing millions into new franchises, the league is running out of time to show it can operate like a mature professional organization. That means more than raising salaries. It means building a foundation that can support higher expectations. It means building trust with players who have watched the league promise change for years without delivering it fast enough. And it means proving that the WNBA can evolve even as it faces the greatest competitive pressure it has ever seen. Complicating everything is the emotional weight of the players' expectations. They are no longer asking for change, they are demanding it, and they have every right to do so. For nearly 3 decades, WNBA athletes fought through financial gaps, limited resources, patchy travel schedules, and inconsistent marketing. They pushed the league forward through sheer force of talent and resilience. Now that the spotlight is finally shining on women's basketball, the players expect the league to meet them at the level they have earned. They expect action, not promises. They expect progress, not excuses. And many of them have made it clear that they won't accept another CBA that leaves their future tied to outdated systems. This is why revenue sharing has become the heart of the debate. The players want to feel like true partners in the league's success, not employees waiting for incremental raises. They want a structure that reflects reality, because reality is simple. They are the product. They are the reason ratings spiked. They are the reason merchandise flew off shelves. They are the reason expansion became possible. And they want their compensation to reflect that value in real time, not years later through slow, predictable salary cap increases. From the league's point of view, this is where things become risky. Revenue sharing sounds fair in theory, but it demands transparency and financial stability that the WNBA has not yet built. Owners fear committing to a percentage of revenue when the league's earnings fluctuate, expansion costs loom, and financial commitments keep rising. They want flexibility. They want control. They want the ability to plan without being locked into a structure they're not fully prepared to sustain. And while those concerns may be practical, they clash directly with what the players believe is necessary for long-term respect. Under normal circumstances, the league and its players might have the luxury of time to sort through these competing priorities. But time is the one thing they no longer have. Project B has changed the landscape so aggressively that any delay feels dangerous. With multimillion-dollar deals already on the table and more rumored behind the scenes, top players have leverage they've never held before. That leverage creates a negotiating environment unlike any the league has faced. When players are willing to walk away, or at least threaten to, because they know they can earn more elsewhere, every little conflict becomes magnified. Every disagreement becomes urgent. Every decision becomes high stakes. The involvement of union leaders in competing leagues only intensifies the drama. It is one thing for players to have alternative options. It is another thing entirely when the leaders responsible for guiding an entire union through negotiations are themselves tied directly to those alternatives. Some players view that as a strength, proof that their representatives understand the full scope of opportunities available. Others see it as a potential conflict, a signal that interests may be split. And while no one questions the loyalty or integrity of the union's leadership, the timing could not be more explosive. The league is negotiating with people who have already accepted deals in a rival organization. That alone adds a layer of complexity that makes every conversation feel more fragile. Meanwhile, fans watch all of this unfold with a mixture of excitement, confusion, and fear. They want players to be paid what they deserve. They want the league to grow. They want expansion to flourish. But they also fear the consequences if negotiations fall apart. The idea of a delayed season, or worse, a cancelled one, casts a shadow over the future. Fans who have only recently fallen in love with the WNBA don't want that connection disrupted. Longtime supporters don't want to see the league lose momentum just as it reaches a cultural tipping point. And everyone understands that a work stoppage could push casual fans away at the exact moment the league needs them most. As the deadline approaches, what becomes clear is that the WNBA is no longer negotiating in a vacuum. Every move the league makes is being compared to Project B's promises. Every raise is measured against what a rival league is offering. Every commitment is evaluated through the lens of a global basketball ecosystem that suddenly looks very different than it did even a year ago. The WNBA is negotiating not just to improve the league, but to protect its relevance in a world where alternative opportunities are stronger, richer, and more appealing than ever. The final days before November 30th will determine whether the league enters 2026 with clarity and momentum or with uncertainty and instability. Everything hinges on whether the WNBA and its players can finally align their visions and find a middle ground that respects value, protects growth, and acknowledges the reality of competition. Because if they fail to reach an agreement, the consequences won't just affect contracts or negotiations. They will shape the future of women's basketball at every level. If you've been following this story and want to stay updated as the clock winds down, make sure to like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. Should the players push harder for revenue sharing? Is the WNBA doing enough to keep pace with Project B? Will the league find a way to secure its future before time runs out? Let me know below, and stay tuned for the next chapter in this unfolding drama.